This is Recognizing Interest in Education of Kid by Ashley Stein Reyes. Before we begin, let's take a moment to reflect on our own experience at school. Gonzalez Mena says that one expectation that educators should have is a sense of reflective thinking, or the idea that in order to understand the ways of a child, you yourself should examine how you were like as a child and the things that you were taught. As the number of students who are failing in school is slowly decreasing, from 10.9 to 6.1%, educators have reconsidered their methods about how children should be taught. They consider that children are simply not interested in attending school, even as early as preschool, and would rather focus on other things that are more enjoyable to them. Early childhood educators have taken note of this predicament and have found that if young children are taught in a more play-based or hands-on curriculum, not only will they be able to keep their interests and stay engaged in the implemented activities, but it can also teach them many life skills that will prepare them for the rest of their academic careers. But exactly how do we find what interests the children? The first step is to understand what makes the whole child. The whole child approach to education is defined by policies, practices, and relationships that ensure each child is healthy, safe, engaged, supported, and challenged. Number two, building relationships with not only the children but their families as well. Carter and Curtis say that the sense of community between the parents and teachers needs to be made in order to strengthen the bonds between children and their families and creating positive connections with other children and adults. Number three, creating a nurturing environment. According to Hildebrand and Heron, the caregiving that creates a secure environment, regardless of whether that environment is in a family childcare home or large public school building, is the foundation on which efforts to educate young children must be based. Number four, observation and implementation. By observing the children's interests as well as having prior knowledge of how the implemented activities correlate with the children's learning, educators can provide opportunity for children and youth to have the direct, normal experiences from which educators might derive an idea of method or order of best development. However, even though these are all research-based, why are all these methods not implemented in all schools? The answer: federal and state funding. In other words, the higher the students' test scores are, the more funding the school gets. Therefore, the state has control of what the teachers can and cannot implement in the classroom. So as advocates, the more we prove that interest-based learning is more effective in educating students, the more we can prove to the state that funding should not be determined by assessments alone. After all, not everyone learns within the same mold as the current educational system.